Hello, my beautiful people. Thank you for clicking on today's video. We're going to be doing something completely different with this video, as you can already tell from the intro. No cinematography, nothing crazy like that. Just me talking to you guys on a one-on-one basis, because this is a question from a subscriber, someone that's followed this channel for a while now, and they wanted to have a second opinion on something terrible that happened to them. So hopefully through me answering this question and raising awareness to this topic, maybe you've dealt with something similar to this and you can take something away from this story and what happened. And I'm going to include some personal books, audio tapes that have helped me deal with situations like that, as well as my own personal experience being cheated out of something in the same sort of way, maybe at a lesser degree, but it happens still to this day. Either way, let's dive into this topic. So our friend goes on and says, man, I first viewed your content back in early 2020, right around the time of all that cough BS. I definitely felt from the beginning, but now definitely believe we have a fair amount in common, like the experiences and struggles we have had and the way we think on most topics. Since 2018, I knew that I had the best ideas for this particular comedy series in a certain country. I'm not going to share too many details because he told me to leave that out. Things in this country, the country that he's living in, seem to keep getting tighter on what you can't do or say, to the point you basically won't be able to get government, production companies, or people in the industries funding or assistance without being a woke sellout. So he goes on and says, ironically, I've always struggled hardcore with reading and writing. Not sure if you believe in things like ADHD or dyslexia, but I definitely have those traits to a T. Not even knowing what they were exactly until recently, before always believing/manifesting that I would be able to read and write way faster. But the past 2 years or so, I've seemed to hit a plateau, and I still feel like I need to be better at writing fast and efficient to make my scripts read right without spending too long on them. I know for the fact that I've got this sitcom world's characters and situations down pat. Think of multiple 10 out of 10 funny situations, also every single day out of thin air most of the time. My intuition that this is the best thing I can do career-wise with my life is absolutely certain. But when people see my work, they see a major weakness in my script writing abilities. The way I write scripts makes perfect sense to me, where I can see every camera angle, but even in near perfect format, people in the industry can picture the work I'm trying to explain through my scripts. This happened to the point where last March I felt I was completely ready. Pitched my 2 main series, Lookbook Story Bibles, 30-minute reel demos, and pilot episode scripts to legit some of the most popular sitcom places in this country. I'm certain you've probably heard of these guys, he says. And they never got back to me, but dropped everything else they were doing and came out with their own version of my comedy series. In ways, this felt worse than getting cheated on and having my house robbed the same week. Been hard these last few months to look past getting backstabbed like this by the people I've looked up to for years. The lawyers so far are all on the fence on if I would win in court or not against them, but damn, I don't even think I want to go through with that route, because this situation has been distracting enough, losing so much motivation, time, sleep, etc. I know my version is better than theirs, even though they have around 100 people working on them with the top end actors in this country. I'm legit calculating they have a budget of around $150,000 per episode. I've tried many things in the last few years trying to get a crew started, as I never had more than unexpected family members and friends help me with demo footage filming. Trying to find another writer to improve script speeds and how easily understandable it has proven to be such a challenge, from the person being interested but wants big money right away, to being really interested and ambitious, but not understanding how to aid the style and jokes. This message is more than I first thought it would be, so I'll leave it there. I look forward to hearing your thoughts, even though they are super brief, because this is seriously long-winded and you may not have much to say on the matters. I believe your channel is underrated big time, man. Really don't understand how it hasn't blown up, bro. Our work is not getting the recognition it should. It's something else we can relate on, I guess. And then he signs it off. I'm not going to read his name. So here's what I have to say about all this. So I'm not too familiar with that industry you're working in, but I'll comment on what has helped me when I've had people do me wrong in the past or steal some of my work. So hopefully this does help you. I can't provide anything from the legal standpoint. That is not my field or anything like that. You're obviously working with lawyers, so listen to their advice on what you should do moving forward. This is just my interpretation and my perspective on that. And that goes to anyone listening to this that might be dealing with something similar. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before proceeding with the rest of this video. Okay, so first and foremost, dude, that freaking sucks. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I mean, I know how long those storyboards take. I took a media literacy class in college, and we had to do a storyboard the last 3 months of that class in order to get a capstone for that minor degree that I had. And it took me all day and all night to work on a storyboard. Maybe you're just more creative than me and you were able to get it out faster. It took a lot of brain power and just scripting and making sure that the story made sense, the script, the camera angles, all of that took hours of effort and willpower. Also, you have to watch and study films that are similar and take away what works and what doesn't work from those films and those concepts and then apply it to your work. So it's just a whole bunch of work for anyone that's wondering why he's so pressed. I mean, obviously it's obvious you would be pressed if your work was stolen, but when you're putting in this much work into filming and scripting and doing a storyboard like this, and this has been your purpose for the last 3 years, just to present it to a group of people and have it stolen from you, it's a whole it's a whole nother level of pain. Let me get a drink of water really quickly. All right, I'm back, guys. So one of the things I do want to comment on is the fact that you said we can both relate with our work and what we do not being necessarily recognized by the outside world and appreciated. And while I will say I can look at the work that I do as it not being appreciated, when you start off so small and you're building and it's like a lot of work in the beginning, those people that do watch this channel and do like the videos and do comment, the 5 or 4 people that do, starting off right now, it's so much more impactful and meaningful to have that than I'm sure someone that has maybe millions of followers, you know? And when you build something from the ground up, it's like owning sort of like a mom and pop diner. I don't know. We'll just use this as an example. And the owner of the hypothetical mom and pop shop, you know, he's saved up his entire life savings to invest in buying the property. He scouted out to see if there were any better available buildings to establish this diner. And then he's gone into investing in all the food, the equipment, the electricity, the rent, everything is taken care of. And he gets his first couple customers to come in when he finally opens. And it's just like the most amazing thing ever. Whereas like, you know, you have like a big brand, a chain of McDonald's now, and it's just like, here's your quarter pounder, here's your 5-piece chicken nuggets. Here, you know, it's just taken out of like the whole, there's something about that growing from the very grassroots level of whatever it is you're starting. Going through the grind and the struggle on a consistent basis while building up whatever it is you're trying to do. This is for anyone that's watching. When you get to that top, when you finally made it to the top of the hill and you can look down and see all the things that you've mastered and accomplished on the way to building the support structure that was able to carry you and lift you up this hill of life, and all the challenges and obstacles that got in the way, all the times you could have tapped out and given up, all the people that got in your way, all the events you passed on, all of the times you could have went out and you said no, all the times you got up early to work on that script before work, all the times you sacrificed. You can look back and really just soak in and absorb that the fact that you did this and you know what it's like to come from the bottom. And not a lot of people can say that nowadays. I mean, some people can, but most people at the first sign of adversity or difficulty, whenever it comes to taking on something, they give up. We live in a very short term, quick dopamine hit TikTok society where people want things fast, they want it now, and then they're done with it once they get it. But it's very short lived. It's not something long, consistent. And you need that longevity in order to build upon it to have anything. And this is why the power structure at the top, they don't want you to have the willpower and the strength that we talk about on this channel and on the videos that I present to you guys. That's their main goal. They have willpower. They have a sense of who they are, and they're not going to give up until they push their objectives and what they want onto society. And what we should do is learn from them, because if we applied the same willpower and strength towards whatever purpose it is we're trying to manifest and we're trying to bring about, who's saying that we can't do the same thing? So another thing that will really help you is just understanding that once you let go of something in your life, usually that thing that you let go of will come to you. Especially if you're consistently just putting in the work behind it and you know what you're supposed to do and you just do those things without expecting necessarily a result when you think it should be, but you're just getting lost in a sense in the art of creation, in the art of whatever it is you're doing, and you release it to the universe and you have no expectation, but you consistently work on it and you improve. That's when you get rewarded. Anyone can try this out after watching this video too. If you've been holding on to anything that you've been desiring, let go of it, release it, and just put your head down and work. I used to struggle with this all the time. I would upload a video. I still struggle with this to this day. I upload a video, hour later after release, I'll check. Because they rank it. They rank it from 1 to 10 on how well it's performing. Oh my God, it's like an 8. I look, I'm not doing well. And I used to do this. I would get lost in my head. I suck. I'm not a good content creator. I'm not doing well. Like, why aren't people understanding my message? Stuff like that. And you just go over these thoughts over and over and over again instead of, okay, finding out what works, what doesn't work, getting rid of what doesn't work, implementing more of what does work, looking at my analytics, being self-critical, but learning from it, and then moving on to the next thing I can work on, not getting lost in the cycle of repetition of negative thinking patterns that'll just keep me stuck instead of progressing forward to the next level. So in your case, understand that this happened. Take away from like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have pitched this story deck. Next time I do this, I'm not going to pitch it the same way. I'm going to give a little bit or whatever, or I'm going to self-publish. I'm going to upload on a YouTube channel, maybe be an independent filmmaker. Because if they're going to take your work like that, that's actually a good sign, because clearly you have this talent and the skills to have your work taken by a big organization in that country, which is it's a big deal. So you have the talent and the skill, backed by your own personal will, to take another concept, because you came up with this. Think about it. You came up with this from a power that flowed through your mind, and you solved this in your head before you put it on the paper, and then you published it as a screenplay, or you pitched it as a pitch deck. But you had the whole idea and the concept in your mind because it came from above. It wasn't from a source from you. But you are so in line and so creative as a channel, which is what I talk about all the time on this channel, to be used by the infinite source as a medium of production. And it was so good that someone stole it from you at that large of a scale. That means you can do it over and over again if you really wanted to. So almost look at it as like, okay, this is the worst thing that could have happened. I learned from it though. I'm going to do this, this, and this next time. And from there, I'm going to now put my head back down, get to writing, get to scripting again. And I'm not going to focus on the results. I'm just going to get lost in my work. I'm going to research how to be independent, look up maybe how to start a YouTube channel so I can publish on my own and I don't have to go through a big company. And then finally tune your craft. And I'm speaking from experience because I've had this happen to me before countless times, where a video of mine was stolen, the script, the thumbnail, the title, everything was taken. And it was published by a larger YouTuber. I'm not going to say who, but it was taken. And yes, they got more views off of it, but I learned from that. And I was able to realize like, hey, I can reframe this context in my mind of what's going on is so bad, right? You're having your work stolen from you, but you can look at it two different ways. And Tony Robbins talks about this in one of his audiobooks. And if I find it, I'll link it in this description of this video. But it's called Context Reframing. And he says, when something bad happens to you, you can either look at it as, oh my God, I can't believe this horrible thing happened to me. And what most people do, sit on their butt and live the rest of their life thinking about what they could have done and what they could have been. Or on the other hand, something bad happened to me, but let me reframe that in my mind, as in, for your instance, in this case, oh my God, my script was stolen from me by such a large company because my work was so good. My ideas were so good. My stories, my characters, everything. It was stolen from me. So I can go duplicate this again with another different storyline, with new characters. But this time I know exactly what to do so this doesn't happen again, and it will benefit me. So there's two different ways of looking at these things. We can do that with any situation in life. If you look for the good in something, you'll find it. If you look for the bad in something, it's there too. So while I'm saying all these things and they sound good, at the same time, while you don't have this motivation, because we all have to go through our own individual journey here, in a sense, alone, like, yeah, we're around people, but we all have to do our own individual work in order to produce what it is that we're being told to produce from our higher selves. And we know what our calling is, and we know what our calling is. So one of the things that helps me a lot is having tools. One of them is this book that I read whenever I'm feeling discouraged. And I go to this particular chapter in this book, Think and Grow Rich. I know it's kind of a popular book in this space, but it's a chapter on persistence, okay? If you want to screenshot that page, whenever you're feeling discouraged, read this, right? I'll just read a little bit about it. Persistence is an essential factor in the procedure of transmuting desire into its monetary equivalent. The basis of persistence is the power of will. Willpower and desire, when properly combined, make an irresistible pair. People who accumulate great fortunes are generally thought of as cold-blooded and sometimes ruthless. Often they are misunderstood. What they have is willpower, which they mix with persistence and place back of their desires to ensure the attainment of their objectives. The majority of people are ready to throw their aims and purposes overboard and give up at the first sign of opposition or misfortune. A few carry on despite all opposition until they obtain their goal. So that's just a quick little segment from Think and Grow Rich on the chapter on persistence. So if you guys don't have that book, you can download the PDF online. We have an immense, vast database of old books and audiobooks all online for free in PDF form or HTML, whatever. It's all available online if you can't get this book. So there's really no excuse unless you don't have access to the internet. So the next tool you can use as you make your hypothetical climb up this mountain to your goals and your success of what you want to do is surround yourself by good audiobooks. So for example, this is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. I have it on YouTube right here. So you can listen to this wherever you are, when you're driving especially, instead of listening to trash music that's out there. You can fill your mind up with audiobooks that will help you improve your life and encourage you. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to come off as like I'm attacking you or like, you need to watch this audiobook. You're not doing anything. No, I'm not saying you're not doing anything for your self-improvement. I'm saying this aids you in it. Anyways, I wanted to play this part of the audiobook for you because this part of the audiobook I listen to whenever I'm feeling discouraged and I don't necessarily have time to sit down and read this thing. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope you take away something valuable from it as well.
Tell me of some of your other tricks with which you cause people to drift in life.
One of my most effective devices is failure.
The majority of people begin to drift as soon as they meet with opposition, and not 1 out of 10,000 will keep on trying after failing 2 or 3 times. So it is your business to induce people to fail whenever you can. Is that correct? You have it right. Failure breaks down one's morale, destroys self-confidence, subdues enthusiasm, dulls imagination, and drives away definiteness of purpose. Without these qualities, no one can permanently succeed in any undertaking. The world has produced thousands of inventors with abilities superior to that of the late Thomas A. Edison. But these men have never been heard of, while the name of Edison will go marching on, because Edison converted failure into a stepping stone to achievement, while the others used it as an alibi for not producing results. Is the capacity to surmount failure without being discouraged one of Henry Ford's chief assets? Yes, and this same quality is the chief asset of every man who attains outstanding success in any calling. That statement covers lots of territory, Your Majesty. Do you not wish to modify it or tone it down a bit for the sake of accuracy? No modification is necessary, because the claim is none too broad. Search accurately into the lives of men and women who achieve enduring success, and you will find without exception that their success has been in exact proportion to the extent that they surmounted failure. The life of every successful person loudly acclaims that which every true philosopher knows. Every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent success. But the seed will not germinate and grow under the influence of a drifter. It springs to life only when it is in the hands of one who recognizes that most failures are only temporary defeat, and who never, under any circumstances, accepts defeat as an excuse for drifting. If I understand...
All right, so I just want to play a snippet of that for you. I'll link that in the description of this video. This video is getting really, really long, and I don't want to lose any of your guys' attention spans. But I just wanted to play that segment for you. If you have no idea what that interview is about, it's not a real interview with the actual devil, although if there was such thing as a devil, I'm pretty sure that's what he'd say. It's Napoleon Hill, the author, sitting down and basically talking to the shadow side of ourselves, the side of ourselves that wants to discourage us and keep us in the same place we are instead of growing. And this is something that is used on us heavily, especially with all the distractions that we have nowadays. That's being showered upon us by the powers that should not be above, to keep us from spiritual evolution, essentially. So I'm not going to explain everything that happens in this book, but if you're able to watch this video, you're definitely able to listen to the audiobook of that. It's really encouraging, and it helps you realize that there is a darker shadow side of yourself that doesn't want you to achieve whatever it is that you've always dreamed of achieving, and you have to overcome the mental monkeys, as some people call them, that are in your mind constantly tampering with it and discouraging you. You have to get rid of them. And unfortunately, most people don't get rid of them, and instead they become a drifter, which is what he was talking about in that brief segment. But he talks about it throughout the entire book. And most people, unfortunately, in society are drifters. They have no major life purpose to dedicate themselves to help humanity evolve and grow consciously in spirit. It's either all base desires or ego driven, all for recognition, stuff like that are lower self wants, not to help uplift humanity. Because when you're doing this work, when you're doing your purpose, hopefully you get to the point where you don't care about necessarily how much money it's bringing in and how much recognition you're getting, okay? Because quite frankly, when you speak the truth, no one really supports you. I'm gonna be honest about that. Like, I haven't gotten much support since doing this at all. But what you are doing is you're serving the universe and the higher consciousness that we all have to move into as human beings. Because at least one of the things that I realized was there's way more to life, especially when you get deeper into spirituality and understanding yourself, than being recognized and having all these like worldly achievements. Like, yes, we will all want these things and we want to be recognized for what we do, of course, but humanity and the world at large, once you really start getting into this stuff, it's such a sad, hurt world that needs healing, right? And there's so much pain out there that your purpose becomes bigger than yourself. It's about serving humanity at large in a way where you're a voice of hope for them. So whether you can do that through comedy or whatever skills or talents you have, do it in a way that inspires people and encourages them and brings life to them, because we have enough out there that's pulling people away from that. And yeah, like, you're probably not going to get the initial support that you want, but in the face and the eyes of the universe, you're blessed. And people and circumstances, situations, and events, it might not happen immediately. Over time, though, they will be presented to you, and doors will open up that you would have least expected to open up, and you will be gifted with certain things, because the universe will bless you for that. And on that note, I just wanted to say, be fearless, speak the truth, and shine a light in everything you do. Have a blessed day, guys. I love you, and I hope this blessed you.